Oh, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmic Starseed Academy. Today's date is the 1st of May 2026, and it is 8:25 p.m. here in Ireland. These are the Wednesday groups. What's really going on now? Question mark. And we're going to start with Dennis Mulcahy doing the prayers this evening.
Okay, so I will begin with that simple prayer, the law of one, and I will repeat it. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks that this is done. It is so. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks that this is done. It is so. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, with Mother, Father, God, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks that this is done. It is so. And short I am mantra. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. Okay.
Thank you, Dennis. So these groups are the intention on the Wednesday. Um, these groups are called What's Really Going On Now, which is an extension from um, the book I channeled called What's Really Going On Now, COVID pandemic, coronavirus. And that book was, I think all of it was channeled back in 2019, 2020. So it's kind of an extension of that. And they kept the name What's Really Going On Now, question mark. So it's about current events and the war between the light and the dark and current events on Earth and what's playing out and situations. And recently, one of the situations has been very sadly ooh, been David Wilcox, who I think was just an amazing person. I've been very reluctant to do any channeling on it, although the information, not even that I've received, but what I believe is that he didn't kill himself. That's what I believe. Um, and I've been very reluctant to get any information on it or to do any channeling. But my gut instinct just cries no, really strongly, that there's a huge, and I get a physical kind of reaction with that. Um, when I first heard it, the energy in my stomach was really pulsating. And I don't believe he committed suicide. I believe one of two things. Either he was targeted by technology to to do that, or he's still alive. And I feel stronger in my belief that he's still alive. There has been Kerry Cassidy, for example, is one of the people um, that I really respect her information and her research and her work. And she's been doing this work for such a long time. And she has also recently been saying that he's still alive. And I was actually watching a previous interview with her today on Jaco. I forget his surname now, but Jaco, um, the American ex-Marine, I believe. And that was quite an interesting interview. I haven't watched all of it. I've only watched half of it, or the first hour. But that was really interesting. And I have watched another, um, I don't know, should I say the name? I've watched other prominent figures in the truth movement field who are remote viewers, um, and her initials are EA, and I've watched her do video updates, information where she says that, um, if I'm correct in saying, she has said that he was technology was used to take him out. So I think we need to just use our own discernment. I think it's possible that there are, and this was something that came up recently when Dia asked the question, and she's not here this evening, but she did ask, is it possible that the reason we're seeing different information by good people who are reputable, reputable. I can never say that word. So she was asking, is it possible that we're on two different timelines? And I think that's possible. I think it's probably likely that's why we're seeing two different streams of situations or, outcomes. Um, do you guys have any questions?
I don't really have a question. I just, about David Wilcock, I never heard him speak when he sounded emotionally fragile or unstable or, mentally, wayward, lost his way in any way whatsoever. He never sounded anything but totally like centered and articulate and knowledgeable. And so this theory that he's committed suicide or this fantasy narrative is completely uncredible for me.
Yes.
I never saw any sign that he was fragile in that way. And I think they're just making it up in order to distract everyone away from what is more likely the truth, that other scientists have met unfortunate ends and their families and they themselves have been whisked away to safety, and he's one of them. That's that's what it feels like to me. It's the most likely scenario.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis has a different opinion. Dennis does think he committed suicide, and I don't. I don't believe that at all.
What does Dennis base his opinion on?
Um, well, he's not here to speak for himself, but I will say that. So I don't like doing that with anyone, but I will say that um, Dennis believes that he had mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have seen reports that he did have mental health issues, and I've seen videos where he's very upset um, in the videos that he's doing. But I don't think I don't believe that. I don't think he was.
No, but being upset doesn't equate to a mental instability.
Yes, exactly. Um, yeah, I personally, I don't believe that he was. Maybe he was a little bit depressed, or targeting will affect you mentally, um,
Yeah, I
which
can
is
see that.
different to having mental health problems. But um, because if you weren't being a target, you wouldn't have those. You wouldn't be affected mentally, um, which is different to mental health problems. And I don't even, I don't really believe in the term mental health problems, because, or even schizophrenia, because that is just a negative spirit who is somehow communicating with you.
Hmm.
Um, I'm going to pause there.
Before you go away, didn't your
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We were taking a short break there. And we were talking about the royal, some of our conversation was about the royal family. And um, who um, in my understanding, are reptilian. And there have been reports from Lady Diana herself that she stated that the Queen is reptilian. And she must have seen a lot um, while she was part of that family. And I do believe that she was probably horrified by a lot of it. I do believe her bloodline going back in history was also reptilian, but I think when it came to her and the successive her previous ancestry, I think somehow it filtered out, and I think she was a very good person. I think she had a very good soul. I think she was somewhat um, a very high spiritual person. And a lot of her work would suggest that. A lot of her reactions and situations and the way she reacted to certain things, everything suggests that to me. So I think she did, in going back in her family history, I think that was also reptilian, but I think somehow it naturally filtered out when it got to her or her previous successors. So I think she was um, targeted from a very young age to be Charles's wife. I think that was a complete setup because of her ancestry. And I think they didn't realize how good of a person she would turn out to be and how much strength she would have to say no. She did not consent. I believe that she was taken out by the royal family. I believe that her son Harry um, was not Prince Charles's son. So therefore he has much less DNA of reptilian, um, and is of the same ilk as Diana was or is. Um, because if she is dead, it was clear it, that she was taken out by the Queen or the royal family. And they were probably all in on it if she is dead. Um, so I think Harry, I'm not sure about Meghan. I always wanted to believe that Meghan was a good person, but I think Harry's move to Canada was a way to escape the royal family and his grandmother, um, who was, in my eyes, just a horrendous person. um, do you have any questions? Anyone?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. So that's kind of it, really. I think I don't know where things are gonna go now in the future with Harry and Meghan. I'm like Sheila. I don't even have a TV here. But I do watch a lot of internet and online stuff. And so I'm not really up to date with what's happening in the 3D world to do with Meghan and Harry. Um, but I think the media are focusing a lot on them. There have been reports. I've seen images of Meghan with Epstein on a boat where she's in a bikini and they seem to be very close physically and emotionally. Um, so that's very suspect to me. But then I know images can be faked very well these days, especially with AI. So I don't know. You can't believe anything that you see anymore with the advancement of AI, especially over the last 6 months. It's really advanced. Or rather, it's you the technology that is being hidden from us is not hundreds of years, but at least 1,000 years in advance of what we're being shown. So it's not even that the AI has advanced over the last 6 months, but what we're being shown has advanced over the last 6 months of what we're being shown. So it's hard to know what to believe anymore. I've watched AI videos where you can definitely tell it's AI, but then I've watched other videos that you can't tell at all. Like it's very advanced. It looks real and it sounds real and it doesn't seem like AI at all. And yet it is AI. So it's very difficult to know, you know, and that's just going to get more and more advanced as we step forward into the future. So it's very difficult to know the truth from the fake stuff. And also, they have said that there will be a genuine landing and a fake landing. And of course, there's already been a genuine landing in the Miami, Florida mall that they did predict in a live channeling 2, 3, or 4 weeks before it actually happened. And I think Emily and Sheila were both here at the time when they came through and said that. And that is still available on YouTube, I believe, on my YouTube channel or Substack, at least if it's not on YouTube. So the world has changed so much, even from last year, even the last 6 months. There's so much has changed and shifted. And something that came to me earlier, um, is that we need to really center ourselves and pull back from what's going on the outside world and center ourselves and ground ourselves and focus on ourselves and our families and our own environments and our own food and our own health and our own lives and not engage in the outside world, not be absorbed by it, not be overwhelmed by it, not be affected by it, not be tainted by it, not be upset by it. Just to stand back and observe and to really just the only thing that we really have control over, and even that's questionable, very questionable on a higher level, but the only thing we have control over is ourselves. We don't have control over the outside world. We don't have control over the wars in other countries. We don't have control over what the politicians, what the governments are doing, what the big pharma is doing. I did see some interview today or video today where they had found, and it's horrible, like it makes me sick to my stomach, but they had found thousands of human remains outside the doors of a McDonald's in America somewhere. I'm not sure where it was. Um,
Outside the doors? How is that possible?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I misheard that. Maybe it was inside the building, or maybe I misheard it. But they found human remains, you know, and to do with McDonald's, and a lot of us have known that for a while. Um, but it like that kind of stuff, it just makes me sick to my stomach. Um,
So I have a question.
okay.
Are the events that we're calling wars, are they possibly military operations that aren't about warring nations?
Yes. Yeah. I've heard reports of, and I think some of the channeling, they've mentioned the stargates, they've mentioned, or there's been reports of giants, but they have mentioned when I've been in the channelings, I remember them saying something about stargates, and I believe it's Iran, and um, I've seen reports of giants, and I'm not sure what country it was, but where they created some type of war scenario or situation, and but they were really going in um, to take the giants or to capture the giants or the giant. So it's yeah. There's a lot that the reason we're given for war it's never the real reason. It never is. There's always something else that is the real reason. Um, and I think it was the same with Hitler. I think it was the same with World War One and World War Two, and the same with all the wars. And it's never it's never the reason for anything, whether it's war or political or government. We're never given the real reason of why they're doing something.
Do you know, um, do you know what the current condition in Israel is, for
I
example?
I
What,
don't, Emily.
what is the real condition in Gaza? What is the real condition in Iran? I hear that they've destroyed the um, weather modification centers and that they're now getting rain and they're getting natural weather. the rivers are filling up and things like that. Um, can you confirm? Have you gotten anything in your channelings about these areas where they're claiming, you know, devastation from, U.S. Well, actually, I hear two different things. Um, Benjamin Fulford had been reporting that the U.S. military had suffered the worst humiliation and losses ever. And then other reports are that the U.S. military are the ones causing all the damage and threat to other people, other nations. So I don't know which one it is.
Let me pause there. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Sheila is going to do some drumming for us. Thank you, Sheila. That was lovely.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you wanted me to stop when I saw your sound bowl there.
No, no, no. I just thought I would. No, not at all. I just thought I would. I just felt like doing kind of doing some clearing. And I know that you can't hear it on the video, but I was just doing some clearing.
Okay.
Um, so while you were drumming, I pulled some cards for the collective, and it came to me just to do a very short reading for the collective, and it's only for the month of May. So there was four cards that fell out, and I kind of didn't want to choose them. I just wanted them to fall out. So four fell out, and so I didn't. Only four fell out. There weren't any more that fell out. But this one is really significant and really jumps out at me to what I was saying earlier about centering yourselves, centering ourselves, and not focusing on our own priorities in our lives, and focusing on ourselves and our own self-empowerment and all those self-empowerment, self-love, self-assertiveness, self-worth, self-confidence, self-voice, self-nurturing, all of those self-words. So really focusing on ourselves and our families and our loved ones and our environments, focusing on shifting the energy within us, focus on shifting the energy within our environments if needed, and the people around us, our loved ones, our families, our friends, just really bringing it back home to what we do have control over. Priorities. Where are your focuses? Where are your thoughts? Where are your energy? Where's your energy? Where's your thoughts, your focus, your priorities, really? And this is only for May, for the collective. And the next card, so the cards are kind of in order of the energies that are going to come up for May. So this card, the water, represents the emotions. So I see some emotional time ahead, maybe in the next week or two or three or four or even 4 weeks. So between now and the 1st of June. Uh, so the emotions are going to get quite intense on the planet collectively. So I don't know what situations are to come, but perhaps that's why they keep saying focus on yourself, focus on your what we do seemingly have control over. And then balancing the energies and not allowing the outside world to influence us so much, really bringing it back home and centering ourselves. These three cards are jumping out at me as being very connected, and the cards often do that. They often jump out and are very connected sometimes, and sometimes I also see things in the cards that aren't there physically. I'm not seeing that today, but what I am seeing with this card is it's the collective emotions will get very high between now and the 1st of next month. And remember, and this card here is showing me that there are different timelines, and it is really up to us and our energies on what we focus on, and to really focus on love and light and compassion and peace. Love, light, compassion, and peace. And you can see there in the cards that her crown chakra is full of love, the pink energy of love. So that's interesting that that's come up. It's and what we put in, she's putting in a flower there. I'm not sure what type of flower that is, but she's putting in a flower that represents love, peace, compassion, and stillness, I would say. So I think we're in for a bit of a rocky month with events worldwide. And we just need to not get caught up in the emotions of them. That's something that they've been saying for about the last month, the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. They keep saying, just come back to center, ground, nature, focus on ourselves, and not get caught up in the events that are playing out on Earth. And I think that with the cards that with these cards that came up this evening, I think that is, I think everything I've just said, I think the energies, it feels to me like the energies are really building into more intense situations on Earth. And of course, we need to balance that. Balance the intense energies and situations on Earth and come back to nature and really just breathe and peace and stillness, love and compassion and understanding. So it feels like an important month. Thankfully, I'm not seeing the actual situations that are coming. And it feels like I'm not seeing that because I feel like they're protecting me from seeing too much. Because I've always been one of those children or people that see too much. So it feels very protective that I'm not being shown the situations. So I think that's it for this evening, guys. Unless anyone has any questions.
I don't think I have any questions, thank you. It was interesting seeing the cards. I thought they were very meaningful.
I don't have any questions either.
Okay. Okay. And I think before we go, I think it would be nice to do an activation or meditation. I don't think Sheila's done that with me in a while, or in the group in a while, because she's been away doing lovely things and getting to explore some different places on the planet. So yeah, I might keep my eyes open for this one. Maybe. We'll see. But I do feel the Lyrans here very strongly this evening. What's coming to me is that it really does not matter other people's opinion of us. And I'm being shown that, and they're referencing a situation that with myself that happened earlier on a more personal level, which I did share with the group earlier, and I was kind of having a little rant about it. And so that's what's coming to me, is that it really does not matter about other people's opinions. What matters is truth. That's really what matters. And we can feel the energy of truth within us, within our bodies. We can feel if something's true or not. We can feel, because everything is energy. Everything is energy. So let's work with some energy now. And if you want to, you can close your eyes and visualize lion around you, lions around you. You can have one on your left and one on your right, one in front of you and one behind you. Or you could even have a whole pack of lions completely surrounding you. And you can close your eyes if you want to and get comfortable. Breathe in through your nose, down to your belly, and hold it for as long as comfortably possible. And breathe out through your mouth. Do that 2 or 3 more times. I have recently started to be given some of my own upgrades, which is I'm so grateful for. I've recently started to do some light language and codes while I'm doing the light language, and I feel that energy coming in this evening. I've always been very self-conscious of doing light language. However, they have been saying to me, the Pleiadians have been saying to me for a while, that the last few years, in fact, that you will, or 1 or 2 years, that you will be doing light language. And it seems that that has started somewhat, although I'm always very conscious of doing something to the very best of my ability, but also very conscious of doing light language. So anyway, here we go. I am not saying I'm going to do it now, but that initiation has started for me. And as I'm moving my hands, it's codes and energy clearing that they're doing on me. Oh, so visualize, thank you. Visualize yourselves with the lions with you. These are the lion energies. That you are connected to. You are connected to Sirius. You are connected to us. You are connected. You are both connected to Yeshua or Jesus. Visualize your throat chakras. And if you want to, you can place your hands on your throat chakras, and you can, from the palm of your hand, there is this beautiful, from your hand chakras in the palm, there is this beautiful blue, illuminescent, strong energy coming from the palm of your hand chakra. And you can place that on your throat center or chakra and visualize all this beautiful healing energy going into your throat chakra, helping to soothe, to clear all of the energy in your throat, which is to do with communication and sometimes our family or our daughters. Some of you will resonate with that are here this evening. Surround yourselves in a bubble of white light, golden rainbow colors, protective. This is a technique that you can master. Through repetitiveness of doing it again and again and again and again. We are complete for this evening. Do not become upset or emotional by situations to come on your planet. There are situations to come that will be upsetting. We would like you and we would like Soma to focus on what it is you want to create. Because what you focus on, you do create, whether you are aware of it or not, whether it is your intention or not. Remember, we love you, and love wins, and that you choose your own reality. We are complete for this evening. So welcome back, everyone. We were going to call it an evening, but then Dennis Mulcahy turned up again. So Emily had some questions earlier that I'm not able to answer. But Dennis is. So Emily, over to you and Dennis.
Okay, thank you so much. Dennis, my questions were about what's being presented to us as the modern day wars in Iran.
Okay, hold on, Emily. Can you
Yes.
do you have a crystal that you can put over your throat, or can you put your hand over your throat while you're speaking?
Okay, yes, I can do that.
Okay, thanks, darling.
So I've been wondering for a long time about these wars. We've seen images that could be rolling stock footage from, God only knows where. And I have to ask myself, well, what really is the situation on the ground in these various places? Are these wars between nations, or are they military operations to take out specific targets of the negative entities and to, tip the balance on Earth in favor of the good people and not the negatives? What is the situation really in Iran? I heard that the weather manipulation stations were taken out and now they have rain and the rivers are filling up. What is the situation in Israel? I heard Tel Aviv was destroyed, but I'm also seeing people from Tel Aviv posting on social media not telling anything about that situation. What is the situation in Gaza? Are there people really still able to live there? after it was apparently decimated. What is the situation in Lebanon? What is the truth? Ukraine, sometimes they talk about Ukraine like the war is still going on there, and other times I've heard it was over a long time ago. And I just, everything is so topsy-turvy, and I just wonder, where is the reality?
Okay. Well, those are interesting questions, and they are valuable questions, because certainly in our media, in our news, we are being presented with certain stories, narratives, accounts, and it is absolutely appropriate to question them, because our media comes from a system which is monetized, which is controlled by a minority moneyed class. And there are realities, and then there are realities behind those realities, and realities behind those realities. So all of them have a different truth. Um, I First point is, while the media presents a spin, uh, it normally presents some of the truth. So don't dismiss all of it, but it is wise to have some questioning of it. And I believe there are many questions there. Gaza has huge destruction, and it would seem that it is not possible to survive in that circumstance. And the only thing that makes it survivable, no doubt it's not all of Gaza, but there are huge parts of it that have been reduced to rubble. And how people can survive in that is human resilience. Human resilience is truly extraordinary. I think many people will understand here, of news behind the news, that there are powerful forces and elements in this planet who have a depopulation agenda. One of the reasons they have been unsuccessful is the damn resilience of humans. They put fluoride in our water and people are still able to think and live, and they put poisons into our soils and our air, and we continue, and they develop a certain illness and then develop some vaccine for it that will further harm people, and people continue. And yes, there is damage, but that is something to be understood. And one of the reasons why they're not able to fully factor this in is because the dark side takes a very materialistic look at humankind. Men and women are just these biological entities that there's too many of, and they're disposable like cattle. But that's not the truth. And this is where we're talking about reality behind reality. The truth is that we are all immortal spiritual beings. The Isbi, immortal spiritual being, the I am presence, the fractal of the divine. And because of that connection, despite the unconsciousness that people have, because of that innate connection with divine energy source, Uh, that is why they have been unsuccessful, and they will be unsuccessful. And it's why people are able to endure such tremendous hardships, like has been brought on in Gaza. The Iran war, it's complicated. It's complicated. Um, and so Iran isn't all bad. The US and Trump and this action isn't all good or right. Um, so at best, one could hope that somehow this crazy action of the US and contravening all sorts of international laws might bring about some greater good. But there is war going on. There is tyranny happening in this planet. It has been going on a long time. And part of the war that is going on, of course, is some bad and evil factions fighting other factions to gain more control and power and wealth, and looking to put other people into subjugation, destroy other people or destroy other nations in the process. And then the war gets more complicated because, again, the reality behind the reality, we believe that there are actually groups of good people who have got together, and some call that an alliance, which is working against the dark force, which has its own fractures. So it's not just one war going on. The dark will always fight itself because, in its nature, there isn't love, it's fear. There isn't generosity, it's greed. There isn't trust, there is breaking of bonds continually. So they have their loyalty through fear and threat and power. So there are these wars that have been with humanity for a long time, and now it's expanded because we believe there is some positive grouping there. And we also believe, many of us, that there are positive galactic groupings, extraterrestrial, benevolent extraterrestrials who are some way putting guide rails on this, and without breaking our free choice and our own sovereignty, are giving assistance. That answer, there's a bit of a babble, so I'll return it to you, and you might ask me to refine it in some ways, or
Mostly I feel like it's not really since the countries around the world are run by corporate entities of these you know globalists, global elites. Since they're not run by real governments, I would think that the predicate is that there's no real war between nations. It is a show of military strength for sure, and it seems that the goal is, um, well, I mean, wars are always based on commercial profit, but if it's a military operation, it's not based on profit. It's based on cleaning up the evil in the world and helping the planet and helping the people of the planet. Uh, and so I'm trying to draw
ah
a
ah
distinction between the
ah
narrative we hear and what is
yes.
the reality.
I would caution against that. I see the hope that you have, and that all the wars, there is some positive force in them, that they're a cleanup operation, that they're to expand our consciousness, that they're not as destructive as they might seem. And as I said, I believe that is an element of it, but the dark continues to fight against the dark, and there is huge collateral damage in it. Huge, 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 huge. More than the media, which loves to create fear, actually communicates. Um, but the Isbys, the human beings, these immortal spiritual beings, us, have an ability to survive and endure these terrible trials. We came into this planet knowing that these challenges and trials would be ahead of us. We came in solidarity of the many who were suffering. And we came in saying, we're going to come in here and we're going to make some sense of it, or we're going to lessen it, or um, we chose not to be external bystanders, observers. We chose to come into it and bring our energy and bring our light. Uh, and we show that in our daily living. We're living with a neighbor, and the neighbor does something that's bad or stupid or calls us a fraud or something, and we don't take their head off because we came in to lessen the chaos, not to add to it. So I say there are real wars, and indeed they mightn't be dictated by nations at all. But then I think the whole idea of nation in some way is a bit of an illusion, because I do not believe that kings or prime ministers or presidents have been ruling any country for a long time. Maybe with the exception of Putin and Russia. There are other powers, higher powers, that are giving the direction and command and control. And up to now, most of them have been negative. That cabal, that other power. And I hold a hope that this crazy guy, Trump, who's doing crazy things, and I don't understand a lot of them. I don't agree with many of them. I have some hope that there is a higher power and intelligence grouping behind him, as crazy as that may be, which are looking to have a wider, a higher view of the situations and conditions in this planet, and are going about in a structured way to rectify some of the chaos and wrongs that have been rife in this planet. And I see lots of evidence of that in taking a step away from globalism, which completely robs citizens of a voice in their, not just their nations, but communities, in seeing the value of a country being able to provide for its own citizens and provide for itself. Uh, I, I see a lot that is positive there, in doing some curtailment of the pharmaceutical industries. And the progress is very slow in it, but I see some gains there, which uh, no administration has advanced on or demonstrated before. And also, I think we are aware of, most of the public mightn't be, that there is also a greater push on uh, making people accountable for terrible crimes against children. And this is something that has been hugely ignored and brushed under the carpet. I see Trump making some progress in it. Very slow, it's dissatisfying, but there's much better progress being made in the US under Trump than there is with Starmer in the UK. Um, so, uh, real there are real wars. It's but I trust they are winding up because the consciousness of the collective of humanity is greatly uh, increasing and expanding. Their intolerance to this nonsense is growing rapidly. And there is a huge awareness that there in the Middle East, the biggest problem is not Iran. There is awareness of that. And as that awareness grows, there will be consequences. There will be uh, a clear karma. There will be justice. There will be a rectifying for wrongs that have been done there.
I mean, I can't really argue with any of that. I just want to say a couple things. Um, a nation is the people who live there, and it is 9 times out of 10 or more, it's not represented by the government or the military forces. Those are acting independently of the people. Most of the people don't wish to go to war of any kind.
Yes.
And we know about the US military that they have been utilized for 165 years as a mercenary force, paid mercenaries. So, and that the Congress has not voted to go to war in all of that time. So, on a technicality, they're not wars; they're military aggression at the behest of these global leaders who are, they're seeking acquisition, they're seeking destruction, they're seeking loosh, they're seeking human trafficking as a fallout of the aggressions there. But I guess I was just hoping that now there's a difference than there has been historically in these kinds of aggressive actions against certain countries. I'm going to say they're more like actions against governments. To take down the system is the way it appears to me. There are going to be casualties, yes, and I'm just trying to get a realistic picture of, is it as
Yes.
bad as they say it is? Is it possibly not even 50% of what they say it is, because of the nature of the news that we've been listening to? Have you noticed that the news has, I don't listen to it, I don't know if you do. Have you noticed that there's been any change in the way information is being reported? Has it become
Uh,
more trustworthy or is it still fiction? You know what I'm saying?
yes. Well, I think the sorry. So agreeing with you, I think it is less bad in a strange way because I do see that the current conflicts we have, unlike what has happened for eons and ages of dark against dark or grey against grey. Uh, it, it's just evil fighting evil, and humanity being a pawn in that, and that still continues. But I do agree with you. I think there is another element. There is another part to what we are witnessing now, and I think it is something positive. And I don't even want to say too much about that, but I do believe there is some positive forces which are fighting the dark. And so that adds another element to it. And I think what's happening in the news, I think what's happening is worse than what the news is telling us. Because the news is very interested in having an agenda which supports the matrix, which supports the system, which supports the success of these programs of the dark elites and their wars. And the situation is worse than the news is telling us because they're losing.
That's so
And
interesting
you,
because they're losing, I would expect the situation to be better than what they're telling us. I feel like they're stirring up a lot of anxiety and stress for the general public.
well, for
They
example,
want us.
Ukraine,
What?
Ukraine, for example, Ukraine, like the situation there is much worse than we are being told. We're
But
not going to be,
I don't think we've been told anything realistic about what's actually happening there. It
maybe
could
so.
be true that it's worse than what we're told, but I don't think the reasons for the actions in Ukraine have been the true reasons. I don't think they've been really revealed publicly.
Yes, that is that is largely so. Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you for your perspective. It's helps it's mind expanding, which I like. Uh, and
Well, I think I find myself agreeing with you in most of that. I'm just
okay,
confirming
okay,
what you're seeing.
yeah. I mean, some of the things you say are sort of opposite as how I perceive it.
Okay,
So that's what I mean. It's
okay.
helping expand my perspective. Um,
Hmm.
yes, so I like to consider beyond my own capacity, you know, to conceive. Thank you for that.
Mm.
It was an
Very good.
interesting discussion. I appreciate your contribution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me. Well, thank you, Dennis, Emily, and Sheila. Thank you for this evening. I guess we should call it an evening. And it's been an interesting session today. And I've really felt the energies at times this evening have been very different. Um, we've kind of fit in a lot this evening with a lot of different energies, a lot of different perspectives, and we've done a reading for the month, which I know Dennis didn't see, but Dennis, if you watch this back, once I do send it out, there was a reading that is for the month ahead, which I thought was very interesting, and I think that you'll find that interesting as well. But very different energies this evening. And I know stuff has come up for people to be cleared, including myself, and I've really felt myself this evening some clearing, which is great. Um, and whether you felt it or not, I feel that energy has been helping to clear all of us this evening, the four of us. I know Dennis has been in and out, which is fine. But thank you guys, and I shall see you tomorrow. And Emily, rest.
Yes, I agree. I should rest. But I have one last question for you, dear. You don't
Okay,
have to answer it tonight. Uh,
okay.
Sometimes I wonder when we go off on these discussions, these tangential discussions, and you're listening, do you have confirmation from the Pleiadians or the Lyrans, or do you have information that contradicts what we're talking about that could clarify? Do you ever get communications while you listen
Yeah,
to? Yes.
yes, I both. I do get communications, and um, I'm so deeply connected to the Pleiadians. Like, and the older I get, the more I realize that just because I'm not channeling, I realize that they're always around me. That I was born with with them. Like when I was born, that they stepped in, and that in past lives they've been with me, or I've been with them on the Pleiades star system. Um, they're always around me, and also Jesus as well, or Yeshua. And my childhood was such a huge training ground, and it was so unusual. It was so not normal, like none of it. And it was so extreme as well. And also, I do realize looking back how protected I was. Um, because, and I know that even though I had a lot of trauma, I know I was so protected because looking back, some of the things that happened to the other children in my primary school, one of them, and I can't remember his name, but he was murdered in a snuff movie.
Hmm.
And yes, and I was in primary school in Hackney Wick in London in the East End, and then the school was called Gainsborough Primary School. And I remember some of the children talking about drinking blood, which I was horrified at that age. And I remember we were in the girls' toilets one day and they were talking about drinking blood, and I just really backed off. I was like, oh my God, I have to get out of here now. And um, so I know, I'm looking back, I know I was very protected as a child, even though I had a lot of trauma. But yes, I am so deeply connected to the Pleiadians that I'm starting to get emotional. And yes, I do get information, and when I'm listening to the conversations, and sometimes it does contradict what people are saying, or although I wouldn't use the word contradict, I would say a different perspective. And Eve and Dennis will know this, that sometimes I have a different perspective than the Pleiadians or Ashtar, which I find very interesting. And that gives me clarity on the work that I'm doing and the transmissions, because if it wasn't genuine, I would have the same perspective, or they would have the same perspective. So that gives me some clarity and guidance and assurance, because anyone who's channeling um, or talking to spirit will normally always question themselves, especially in the beginning, which I definitely did for about 4 years. Um,
I
so
think I
yeah,
think that
and just very quickly to add to that, Emily. Normally, when I'm listening to the conversations and the Pleiadians have a different perspective, or they are agreeing, normally I won't say what they're saying because I'm not in a channeling, so to speak. So normally I'll just keep quiet about their perspective.
I was just wondering, but I would be so interested to hear their perspective. Like, is it something you might add in the note section, in the comment section, as you're posting a video? You know, while Emily and Dennis were discussing XYZ, these communications were coming through. Here they are, just for your consideration. You know, I would be interested
I can do that.
in that kind of, you know, I know you're not technically channeling, but you are perceiving communication from them. They are, in a way, distantly participating in the conversation. So that I would find that immensely interesting. To,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
if you can
I
find a
can
way
do
to,
that.
yeah, okay,
I can do that.
okay, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And please get some rest.
Aye, aye, Capita. So on
Dennis, will
that
you
note,
lead? Sorry,
sorry,
Emily, go on.
I was just going to say goodbye, but is Dennis going to do something?
Well, I hope that Dennis will be able to do some prayers or want to do some prayers to lead us out. It's 22:22 p.m. here in Ireland. Dennis?
I think there is enough there, but uh, that is fine. So thank you, Soma, for creating this time, channel, and space for us to share, listen, learn. We thank our galactic families who uh, speak through Soma and who whisper to us in our own hearts. This session and other times. So we ask that we can be more attentive to the more and the other that is benevolent that surrounds us. And for all the disharmony which surrounds us, we wish to lessen it and for there to be peace and an end of hate and conflict and this unnecessary destruction. And so I'll use that simple Hawaiian prayer, the Ho'oponopono. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And that is a prayer which it makes no sense when it comes from our mind and we experience injury and we see wrong. The prayer only works when we say it from our hearts, from our I am presence, from our connection to the divine, from our immortal spiritual being and presence. It is there that this works. And it is from there that it must come. And then we have an authority and a power to heal and to cleanse and to correct. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. All right. Thank you all.
I would thank you, Dennis. And I would like to say another one that Dennis often says, I am the love. I am the light. I am the truth. I am. You can say it 3 or 4 times, and I like to say it in that order, although other people say it in different orders, but I like to begin with, I am the love. I am the light. I am the truth. I am. I am the love. I am the light. I am the truth. I am. So signing out for now, guys.